Shalom, can your brothers hear me?
Con.
Con.
Khan, shalom.
Welcome to the room. We're going to get started here in a few more minutes. Continue to ping. We usually have this class on Tuesday nights, but we pushed it back to tonight. It's just some scheduling conflicts and things and whatnot. So appreciate y'all for coming out. It shouldn't be too long of a lesson, but we're just going to touch on the high points, go over some precepts, and make sure that people are prepared for the upcoming or the ongoing energy crisis and dark winter. So continue to ping, and we'll get started here in a bit. The water. King Ben, are you all set?
Khan, you ready?
I can hear. Say it again.
I said, Khan, you ready to go?
Yeah. There's a few rooms going on, so people can come in as those, when they, because we can go ahead and get started.
Khan.
Better keep these laws, statutes, and commandments. What you gonna do in time of trouble? Better keep these laws, statutes, and commandments. What you gonna do in time of trouble? What you gonna do? Yeah. What you gonna do? Yeah. What you gonna do? Yeah. In time of trouble. Yeah. What you gonna do? Yeah. What now? What you gonna do? In time of trouble, troublers, yeah. You better not, yeah. Troublers, yeah. In time of trouble.
Shalom. Want to give all praises to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. Shout out to the 12 tribes scattered abroad. Greetings and blessings. So welcome to tonight's episode of Jacob's Trouble. We have this ongoing series of Jacob's Trouble where we go into the scriptures and extrapolate very relevant lessons and things regarding Jacob's trouble from a biblical perspective. We talk about what is Jacob's trouble, what all entails in Jacob's trouble, what does the Bible say, and how we can prepare and position ourselves to be in the best position to last what's coming. We have various lessons regarding power outages, food supplies, water rotation, skills of bug out bags, and things of that nature. So tonight, this is episode 17 of the ongoing Jacob's Trouble series of Thy Kingdom Come, regarding the energy crisis and dark winter coming. So I'd like to take a page from my brother Dominique's teaching format and go into the definition of an energy crisis. The definition of an energy crisis is any significant bottleneck in the supply of energy resources to an economy. In literature, it refers to one of the energy sources used at a certain time and place, in particular those that supply national electricity grids or those used as fuel in industrial development and population growth have led to a surge in global demand for energy. Okay. Now there's a few reasons for this for any energy crisis, but what we can see now, what we've seen in the recent news recently, I guess over the past month, is a bottleneck in the supply of energy resources to an economy. Now, typically, we've seen this. This is nothing new. We've seen it on more localized levels, and I think that's where the typical definition refers to. We saw it in Texas more recently, and during the winter, we see it in different places around the world. Second and third world countries, more specifically, third world countries have ongoing energy crisis. They'll turn off the power for certain hours of the day, and then at night everyone has to they have a certain window to heat their heat the water, take showers, cook, whatever, things of that nature. But what we're seeing in the news recently is everybody in every economy, small and large, is having these energy crises, is having energy problems. So with that, I want to go into a Bible verse that it plays right into this, as we see shortages in everything, food, droughts everywhere. So let's go ahead and cover this. This is Matthew chapter 24, verse 16. Then let them be which in Judea flee into the mountains. Let him which is on the housetop come not down to take anything out of his house. Neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. And woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. But pray that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, nor ever shall be. Except those days be shortened, there should be no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. Now, a few things I want to point out regarding verse 19. A precept, to give to those who have small children or are pregnant or, expecting children. So, with that, I kind of want to read that from a few different translations. Let me pull that up. Well, first, let's bring out this precept that for those who do have, children in, now, or little children, things like that. This is Jeremiah 31:8. Behold, I will bring them forth from the north country and gather them from the coast of the earth, and with them the blind and the lame and the woman with child and her that travaileth with child together. A great company shall return thither. Okay, so I wanted to bring that out for those who, have children during this time, to give some comfort that, yes, the Lord knows that you have a child. The Lord knows that you are pregnant. The Lord knows that you just gave birth. And, everyone, who is called by his name is coming back, will be gathered. That's the blind and the lame, with, the women who have children who are about to give birth. Okay. So during this time, right before, there will be some women, who are pregnant and are about to give birth. So when it says woe in, other translations, it reads as, it's going to be a difficult time, so, just with anything else during that situation in the physical, that, having Jacob's trouble, even with children who are, toddlers or things like that, or, it's just going to be a difficult time. So it's not to say, the Lord's not going to save you or your children. So that's not what that's talking about. So now with the energy crisis, this is a global one, unlike localized incidences that, cover multiple cities or countries. So, most recently, last week, we saw Lebanon, which a country reportedly ran out of coal last week. Now, there's many reasons from my research and what I've seen and what we reported on in the news as to the energy crisis. Some people say it's just a billion and one reasons that you can research. And some of it's true, some of it you got to, do your own research to see, or, if you care. And I say that because, I've read a report that India, two major cities were out of coal, or, they'll be out of coal in 2 days. If they didn't get a supply of coal, those two large cities will go dark. So I talked to my friend who has family in India, and one of his uncles said who works for a power company, said no, they have 24 days of coal left, and it's just they're behind because of the weather, but there's not, according to his knowledge, there's nothing to worry about. Of course, you can't tell him everything if that was true or not, but what you hear in the news and what goes on in the actual country is facts, things get skewed. So The reasons as to why, from a secular standpoint, there are many as we can elaborate. But in my personal opinion, it really doesn't matter why, because whichever theory or report is true, the Most High is the author of it. It does make good discussion and things for us to report on as we can kind of stitch together day to day to see the trends. Especially as we report on these especially as we report on this in the last days. But once the power goes off and does not come back on for days, weeks, months, or at all, it really won't matter what's the cause. What will only matter is if the Most High knows your name. This is Daniel chapter 12, verse 1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which stands for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time, thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. This is Psalms 91, verse 14. Because he has set his love upon me, therefore will I deliver him. I will set him on high, because he hath known my name. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him, and with long life will I satisfy him and show him my salvation. Okay, so like we covered plenty of times, the power will go out at some point during these last days. The energy crisis is just another tool the Most High can use, along with cyber attacks, solar flares, natural disasters, wars, etc., etc. So tonight we will cover some things that you will need to add to your supplies and some skills that you will need that will help you and your family survive this upcoming winter. First, we should know that in the winter, the energy demands will go up and there will raise Salakia. So, Salakia. First, we should know that in that time, the energy demands will go up, and we will raise, and there will be a raise in the price that we pay, and the price the energy companies will have to pay to get access to that energy. So the probability of blackouts or rolling blackouts will increase, and given how the weather will be more extreme this winter, it can become very dark. So we need to think about how we're going. So first thing, we need to think about is how we're going to cook. Okay. We recommend Coleman camping stoves. You can get propane or butane. Okay, those are two different ways for cooking. So someone, Salakia, someone asked me how many tanks to get, and I really don't know how to answer that. I mean, it's many factors entail the size of your house or apartment, how many people you're cooking for or planning to cook for. So, the probability of blackouts, with that being said, given that the shortages are coming from every angle, energy, food, supplies, things of that nature, me personally, I will get as many as possible while, and this is important, while storing them in a safe manner. Okay. If you use propane tanks regularly, I would have, if you're using when I say regularly, the large ones, the large tanks, I would have two large ones, one for the regular use and one for backup, so you can just rotate them. But please research on how to store these safely. Learn how to, connect them and disconnect them safely, things of that nature. So if you do it on a regular basis, you already know this, but if you're, new to this or new to storing or things like that, learn that ahead of time. So, before anything pops off, your house won't be a safety hazard. Okay. With that being said, as far as the cooking, please do not try to use your charcoal inside your house. Many people died in Texas from carbon monoxide poisoning. So, be careful from that. When we had that winter freeze, a lot of people, well, I say a lot of people, but there was more, deaths of carbon monoxide poisoning, then I thought that would happen. But people who were not prepared for that winter freeze and try to do anything they could to stay warm because the power went out. And so, I guess speaking to that situation, when I saw on the news that, we're going to get a freeze, I saw that on the news like that Thursday, and we got it Sunday night or whatever. And I thought, Houston would typically get like one hard freeze, and it's not that bad. It's, just like 3 days of just, really cold weather compared to the rest of the U.S. that, thinks it's a joke. So I dismissed it, but I was already prepared. I try to keep a pretty good rotation of things, and so I wasn't thinking about it. But that night before it came, that Sunday, I went to the store. I was like, well, let me grab a couple of some more propane tanks just in case, like the little small camping ones. So I go to Walmart, and that entire section, that camping section of everything, was cleaned out. And I said, okay, so I guess this is going to be, pretty bad. Come to find out, yeah, it was terrible. And, we had power outages, water pipes busted, and things like that. I mean, it was just completely, the state was not prepared for that. And, part of the reason for the pipe busting was the pipes. The pipes that they use in the East Coast in Boston, New York for winter are completely different than the ones that they use down south. So that, those pipes in the East Coast are designed to withstand hard winters. So the ones that, the South typically uses for construction, they didn't anticipate that. So when you had the pipes freezing, they were busting because they were not designed to withstand that such cold temperatures. So, from everybody, everyone hands down was unprepared. But, part of the reason for the power outage was the energy company was being cheap because they had a budget and they didn't want to use their budget to give power to the residents that we've already paid for. But so whatever the reason is, a lot of people suffered because they were trying to stay warm with, using charcoal grills in the house and things like that, and they died from carbon monoxide poisoning. So when we used a butane stove in our house, it was just a one burner, single burner, butane stove. We didn't have any problems with that during the blackout, but we did buy some carbon monoxide detectors that are battery powered. So I would recommend doing that as well. So that's just for cooking. Next is the water, and of course, in any situation, having enough water available should be a priority. We use it to drink, clean, wash, waste management. So we've covered this plenty of times, but it needs to be repeated. And I will post the videos of water storage, preparation, and water purification in the telechat for everyone to review. We have a good. We created a good playlist of videos regarding water, and that's one of the things that people should take advantage of. So you have your water breaks if you have a small space. If you run completely out of all your water supply, just know each water heater has anywhere between 30 gallons and 50 gallons of water in those water heaters that fill up. So you can have the open the spout at the bottom and just purify that water, and you can use it. But I'll post those videos in there. But it cannot be underestimated how much water we use. So next is heat. Now, the ability to stay warm during the energy crisis, especially during the winter, is the best way. One of the best ways you could do it is to secure shelter. So stay protected from the elements. So this is assuming that we all have we're all in a house during this time. Okay, but even that time, we still saw a lot of people who were trying to stay warm, and they were using their cars, they were using grill to stay warm, and they passed away. So some of the things you can use: space heaters. We had a space heater that was propane powered that provided a pretty good heat. We didn't have any problem with carbon monoxide. We used it in our bedroom. We tested it. No problem whatsoever with carbon monoxide. It came with a carbon monoxide detector shut-off switch, so if it somehow it did get too much carbon monoxide, it would shut off. Now, these products I'm about to cover, I'll post a link to my Instagram that where I have a good list of all these items that I've personally tried out, and I was looking at the prices on Amazon, and of course they're going up. From when I first bought these things, but they're still available, so it's not a bad investment. Now with the space heaters, if you use electrical ones, research which ones are the best energy efficient, because you have some out there, they look nice and they're big and they just drain your outlet, and you're going to have a very high bill. And if it's if the power's out, you of course got to have a way to power those. So just know with these space heaters, you're not going to be able to heat a large room, maybe a bedroom. And so that's one thing that we did. Me and my wife, we just took everything, we put everything in our bedroom, things that we normally use, brought some snacks and food, everything in one bedroom, sealed it up, and that's the room we were using to for heat. And the rest of the house we just didn't use. So space heaters, a very good idea. But you just got to research, if you're using an electrical one, which one's the best energy efficient. And if you're using a propane one, the one that twist a little propane tank on the side, you want to that may increase the number of propane tanks that you will purchase, because you're not only using one for for cooking, you're also using that one for heating as well. So, with staying warm, it brings me to the next thing that a lot of us don't think about is energy leaks, or, heat leaks. So, you can get some outlet covers. These are, things that, if you put your hand to your, electrical outlet, if it's windy outside or cold, you put your hand to it, you may be able to feel a draft. If your house is energy inefficient, you'll feel a draft. And if you do, you can just get some outlet covers that'll you'll unscrew the little plastic plate, put the cover on the inside between that and the outlet, and put the plate back on, and that'll seal that draft. So with that, plastic tarps, you can get those at Home Depot, Amazon right now. You can get the foam seals to cover up windows and door slits. So those little things right there you use to stop drafts from coming in will definitely pay dividends when you're trying to stay warm, because cold air is not getting in your house, and whatever heat you are generating from your heater, assuming we still have electricity at the time, or your space heater, will not be lost. So, and of course, we use towels at the bottom of the doors and stuff like that to seal up any leaks. So, it's something that kind of goes forgotten, that people really don't think about when it talks about winter preparedness of energy, power outages, and severe winter weather. And so with that, this is all about staying warm, is clothes. Okay. Purchase some long johns, dress in layers. You can get the thermal pants and the thermal top. Dress in layers. Winter socks, those are like the thick socks. And one thing about the winter socks, I will say this: if you do get those winter socks and you have your shoes on, make sure you have good blood flow, because those socks are thicker. So when you put your shoes on or your boots, it will increase space. So that may cause blood restrictions. So especially if you're talking about wearing those when you're hiking or whatever. I know some people, for their hiking boots or whatever that they use in the winter, they get like a half a size larger to accommodate those thicker socks. So maybe something to think about. You may be able to try it out, go to a store, or with those thicker socks, and try it on and see how it fits. But that's just something to consider. If you're wearing your normal shoes or whatever, and you put on those thicker socks, it's going to take up space, and could cause blood restrictions. And of course, gloves and scarves. So those three things, you could stay pretty warm in a small confined room. With your, you have your space heaters, you cover it up with the energy leaks, window seals, things like that. And, you dress in layers. And with that, you could add hot hands. Those are those little, pockets that you open and shake, and, it provides some heat. Those are disposable ones. You can use that. Um, if you don't want to use disposable ones, they have the hot hands as a USB charger. So, it's like a little, just like looks like a, metal version of a plastic version of the hot hands. You just charge it through the USB, and, it lasts a good while. I will say that. So that may be a better way, instead of having a big box of hot hands or hot feet or in your closet. So, and with the hot hands, I think some people have said this. I haven't tried it, but once the hot hands, the disposable ones, goes cold, you can cut open the bag, and that little graphite black stuff is, you can use that to start to spark a fire. So that's the claim. I haven't tried it, but if you want to try it, wouldn't be a bad idea. And with that, you have firewood. So if you use a fireplace regularly during the winter time, of course, you should know this already. Make sure you have a good amount of firewood on hand. And if this is dark winter, blackout, things of that nature, um, you want to be aware if you have lots of neighbors next by, because they may, or probably will, see the smoke coming from your chimney and may come knocking. And so, what to do if they come knocking. There's a million and one answers on that. Um, so I really don't want to get into that. That's beyond the scope of this lesson. Some of the brothers want to go into that. They can, but uh, that might be something to be aware of. Especially if you're prepared and they're not. And one thing about people who are actively preparing, um, in America anyway, Americans, people who are actively preparing for the end of days, shit hits the fan, Jacob's trouble, whatever you want to call it, whatever people call it, is 1% of the U.S. population. So U.S. population is what, 350 million, 360 million. So 1% of that is 3.6 million. So 3.6 million spread across 50 states are actively preparing. And I'm sure that number has increased since the pandemic. And, it probably died off after things started opening up and people were like, yeah, this is not the end. And they got relaxed and things like that. And that number probably fluctuated a bit again up when, people start reporting the shortages, and you hear about panic buying in the UK and things like that. So, but in terms of the stable number of people, it's just 1% of the U.S. population. So the odds of you having a neighborhood full of people who are actively preparing, regardless of whatever religious perspective you have or they have, is very slim. It's even slimmer for your neighbor, someone right next door, to be actively preparing for whatever fallout. So be aware of that. If you do plan on using firewood, and you got some neighbors close by, they may come knocking. So um, with all that, I have, like I said, I'll post the Instagram link to the page I have, just to give you some ideas of things to use and things to add to your supplies. Again, this is not the end all be all. Like, if you get this, you will make it out of Jacob's trouble. No, I mean, the Most High, we covered this plenty of times. The Most High, is going to save those whom He reserved. What this does is just gives you a chance to be diligent like the ant, because the ant sees that winter is coming and he is actively storing, buying stuff that he needs to make it through the winter. So this is just the natural, of course. Everyone on stage, we have faith in the Most High and His Word, but we do want to we have the opportunity to prepare in the natural. Let's not abuse that. Now, part of this whole winter lesson on winter, and we're going to have more of these as more information comes up and things like that. But the most common, I guess, threat health wise is, a low immunity system. And the major one that we see typically in movies and things like that is hyperthermia. Okay, so before we close, I want to cover hyperthermia, just from the medical perspective and some of the symptoms that, you can expect, and some of the, causes, what causes hyperthermia, and, some of the things that we can do to prevent it and, possibly, treat it. And some misconceptions that I completely, didn't think about until I started researching this, and I forgot about some facts that, pop culture or the movies get wrong when it comes to hyperthermia. So, um, you know, hypothermia is a medical emergency that occurs when your body loses heat faster than it can produce heat, causing a dangerously low body temperature. Normal body temperature is around 98.6 or 98.6 Fahrenheit or 37 degrees Celsius. Hyperthermia occurs as your body temperature falls below 95 degrees Fahrenheit or 35 degrees Celsius. When your body temperature drops, your heart and nervous system and other organs can't work normally. Left untreated, hypothermia can lead to complete failure of your heart and respiratory system and eventually death. Hyperthermia is often caused by exposure to cold weather or immersion in cold water. Primary treatments for hypothermia are methods to warm the body back to normal temperature. So, so just a quick recap. So our normal body temperature is 98.6 for those who are on the Fahrenheit. And if it goes below 95, that's when you're starting to reach hyperthermia. So only 3.6 degree drop in your body temperature and you're in hypothermia territory. So that's pretty crazy. Here are some of the symptoms. Shivering. Shivering is the first thing you'll notice as this temperature starts to drop because it's your body's automatic defense against cold temperature, an attempt to warm itself. Signs and symptoms of hypothermia include shivering, slurred speech or mumbling, slow, shallow breathing, a weak pulse, clumsiness or lack of coordination, drowsiness or very low energy, confusion or memory loss, loss of consciousness, bright red cold skin in infants. Someone with hypothermia usually isn't aware of his or her condition because the symptoms often begin gradually. Also, the confused thinking associated with hypothermia prevents self-awareness. The confused thinking can also lead to risk-taking behavior. Okay, so that is that's definitely informative. That these type of symptoms are associated with hypothermia. So let's cover some specific conditions leading to hypothermia. So wearing clothes that aren't warm enough for weather conditions, staying out in the cold too long, being unable to get out of wet clothes or move to a warm, dry location, falling into the water as in a boat accident, living in a house that's too cold, either from poor heating or too much air conditioning, excuse me. So, the things that we covered earlier about the clothing and the, sealing up your house and keeping, a small room warm to where, you and your family can stay is, this is some of the ways to prevent hyperthermia. And, we see, during these, drastic winters that a lot of, homeless people, die on the street because of the exposure. So, seeing that and reading these conditions, it's definitely important that we, take more of a mental account on, fighting, hyperthermia and staying warm. So one thing I wanted to cover about, I'll post this link, this article in the chat so people can read it in full. But one thing I wanted to cover that what is a major misconception that we see in the movies about hyperthermia is alcohol, more specifically, but this says alcohol and drug use. So we think that we see in the movies that people are drinking whiskey or whatever to stay warm and blah blah blah. But listen to this: alcohol may make your body feel warm inside, but it causes your blood vessels to expand, resulting in more rapid heat loss from the surface of your skin. The body's natural shivering response is diminished in people who have been drinking alcohol. In addition, the use of alcohol or recreational drugs can affect your judgment about the need to get inside or wear warm clothes in cold weather conditions. If a person is intoxicated and passes out in cold weather, he or she is likely to develop hyperthermia. So, that is a major misconception about, I'm gonna drink this vodka to stay warm or whatever, blah blah blah. It's not. It's just not. It's not medically sound. So, and they give the recommendation to do that. So, to avoid alcohol-related risk of hypothermia, don't drink alcohol. There you go. If you're going to be, well, they say don't drink alcohol if you're going to be outside in cold weather, if you're boating, before going to bed on cold nights. So, um, you know, that is a major misconception that I'm glad we were able to research this and bring out that truth, and so we can advise people that who are thinking that it works like in the movies, and that's not true. So tonight was kind of a short lesson. Hopefully this was informative. It will give you some good information to take with you and to start thinking about. I really wouldn't delay, even though in your preparation for the winter, specifically, because there's a lot of things that could that in terms of supplies there, but when we talk about demand and things like that, prices typically go up, and we don't know which sectors or which products is going to be affected by the shortage and price inflation and things like that. But we do know some things we do know. In any scenario, whether it's the winter, summer, spring, fall, whatever, or, whenever, or the power will go out at some point. And how it will happen, whether people don't have enough coal, or people, countries, are just being cheap, or there's an evil agenda to kill us all, whatever it is, you on a personal level can get ahead of this by, of course, Salakia, having faith in the Most High, keeping His laws, statutes, and commandments, and doing what you can in the natural to prepare. Now, of course, the question always comes up, or the comment always comes up. Well, I don't have money for all that, and we have to go back to well, faith. Is part of that is faith. So start with what you can get. Start with the smaller items. The winter socks, things like that. The hot hands, or the battery powered USB hot hands, things like that, to start that winter thing. I mean, that winter supply of things that you will need to stay warm. And the thing is, you may not ever use it, but if you do use it, you will be glad that you spent that money buying that. So, it's just it's because, again, we don't know how rough this winter will be. We don't know if which cities or will have energy crisis, blackouts or rolling blackouts. But again, when it comes, you want to be like the ant who who has some foresight to know that winter's coming and needs to prioritize various items. So with that, I yield. As brothers, you want to bring out any precepts or comments, feel free. And if anyone has any questions, feel free to raise your hand. We'll bring you up. And if you don't, if you're too shy to come on stage, just send one of us a DM, and I'll read the question, or we'll read the question. We won't read your name. We'll just read the question and get it answered. So with that, I yield.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, Shalom.
Shalom.
Yeah,
Comment.
okay, KB, go ahead.
Yeah, real quick. I was a little bit in and out, but I think this was important, whether short or not, just a reminder. Just in my uh, thinking and constant reminder, uh, that, for I think most of our crowd is usually here with us during the weekdays. So they know we bring out the news. And, this is an everyday thing that, it's a constant reminder of what is coming, right? For those days are actually coming that, it will be no warnings no more. We will actually be hit with the lights will be out. And we kind of got a warning as to, the last shutdown that we got, in reference to, not so much the power going out, but how these things that we constantly depend on won't be available to us. It'll be just that much more worse the second time around, as to where we had a shutdown, where we was barred from going to be able to do things, as versus the next shutdown, it will be things that will be actually shut down. Because, through the shutdown crisis, people were still going out and, going to where they wanted to. If a restaurant was open, they would go there. But with the energy crisis, with winter coming, with their supposed twin-demic coming, all of these things coming at one time, with the mandates being in effect, and with the U.S. warring with all its, these countries that normally they, in the past they had good relationships with. We are facing something unprecedented for the United States that they really haven't experienced. I guess since this country's establishment, right? We're seeing cargo ships off our shores, so we're headed for something that's going to be very serious. And as we report on the news, a lot of these stores is their shelves are being erased, right? So I just wanted to speak to just the point of what Brother Leo was saying, because we got a lot of and just checking through the headlines, it's been a lot of power outages throughout the United States. Namely, the other day, um, California shut down their power. Uh, you know the wildfires, and they do this every year. I know people they believe that it's commonplace, and you know it's nothing really. It's like, this is something that always happens. So why should we even have to pay attention to it? It is very prevalent, right? Because if you're seeing them do this, right, it would give you that sense to say, hey, one day that they this is not going to be a drill. This is going to be serious, right? This was reported on UPI News. It was says PG&E shuts off power to 25,000 Californians amid critical fire weather conditions, right? And this is the hottest summer on record. I think every year we get to be the hottest summer on record. But we're moving into the colder months, right? With the next couple of weeks, we're going to be into daylight savings time, right? Or daylight saving time, well, I guess will end. And, it's going to be getting darker earlier, which is going to be getting colder earlier, right? So, it says 1,000 people. I just wanted to read this part of the article. It says thousands of people in California were without power Monday as Pacific Gas and Electric Co. preemptively shut off services due to favorable fire weather, right? It says PG&E said in a statement Sunday night that it would conduct a so-called, and I wanted to make that point, a so-called public safety power shutoff, cutting power for approximately 25,000 customers in 20 counties beginning at 4 a.m. You got to pay attention to these articles. I know they're easy to pass by with everything that's going on in the world. Dave Chappelle got a new Netflix show that he may be referencing the Israelites. You got the Kyrie Irving thing. It's a lot more pressing news, but these are the articles that make sense, because these are the articles that will affect your family in the long run, right? It's not going to matter about Dave Chappelle's Netflix show if your power is shut off. It's not going to matter about what's going on with Kyrie Irving if your power is shut off. And, ain't no TV coming on, ain't no cable, powered up to watch it on, ain't no internet to watch these shows on. So these are the things that you get prepared in the time, right? Just another one to reference real quick. Um, it was another one here, and this was in reference to Salakia. This was in reference to the United States talking about a huge solar storm hitting the Earth could cause mass disruptions, and this is their excuses for power outages and things like that. This is what a lot of times they're selling to people, right? Because they'll label it as a huge solar storm and they'll be shutting off, but in their article, this was by the Independent, it says an enormous solar flare is expected to hit the Earth today, potentially affecting power grids and generating aurora in the northern latitudes, right? So I'm not going to go too far into the article, but these are the excuses that they're using to shut off the power in different areas, right? And a lot of people shrug it off as to be nothing. And lo and behold, you're unprepared for these things, because if you don't have no power, helps with with your water. If your power's not running, your water's not being filtered, and things like that. It's also it affects your food and how you're able to store your food and all sorts of things. So you need to be prepared, as the brother Leo said. He referenced I believe it was Proverbs 6:6, "O thou about regarding the ant," in reference to O sluggard, right? And I just would precept that with Proverbs 30:24. It also referenced the ant, and this is the Most High telling us that where we have dominion over all of the animals of the earth, we still got to look at animals to have that animal that are wise, right? That He gives certain instincts to, that we can pay attention to, right? And this is Proverbs 30:24, right? And it reads, "There be four things which are little upon the earth, but they are exceedingly wise. The ants are a people not strong, yet they prepare their meat in summer. The colonies are but a feeble folk, yet make their houses in the rocks," right? So there that go. That precept with the Proverbs 6:6, referring to the ant as being wise, and that they prepare their meat in the summer, right? And they're not waiting around. This would be considered the summer, right? I'm not talking about the season time. It's the time, like if you go to Psalms 37, it referenced the cool of the day, and before the winter, that time before the judgment and things that happen, that you should be preparing yourself. You should not be waiting, right? If you go to I believe it's Proverbs 20:3, right? From Proverbs 6:6, it referenced old sluggard, right? If you go to Proverbs 20:3, it reads it no 20 Slakia, Proverbs 20:4, it says, "The sluggard will not plow by reason of the cold, therefore shall he beg in the harvest and have nothing," right? So it's referencing that sluggard again, right? The people that do not want to prepare. So they know they're not going to be plowing in the wintertime when all hell is breaking loose, when the power is shut down. So in the summertime, they're begging, right? They're not gonna be. So you don't want to be the sluggard. That's the main point of me bringing that out. That you don't want to be. It's referencing that sluggard person as being a person that is a procrastinator, a person that'll put off to tomorrow for what they can do today. And these are the times that we need to get that spirit off of, that slothful spirit and that neglectful spirit, as we continue to ignore these signs that the Most High is sending us. I got one more precept that I want to bring out, just in reference to that time, right? Because I referenced that the first the first shutdown was the warning, right? That was the precursor to what's coming. And whether you think that it's another shutdown is coming or not, all the signs point to it, right? It's all around the world. It's been happening. And it's happening now. These men, but the, this will be Ecclesiastes 12:1. I'm gonna start from 1. It says, "Remember now thy Creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not. For the years draw nigh when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them." Right? So it's warning you to a time that is to come, right? It's preparing you, right? This is the, it's speaking of a aforetime to come, right? Verse 2. "While the sun or the light or the moon of the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain," right? "In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out the windows be darkened," right? And when it speaks about, the grinders, right, the workers, right, and this is what happened in the last shutdown, right? That this shutdown was showing us how this place stopped. The Most High shut this place, shut the world down, right? You see how the clouds, it was showing how the all of the pollution was down, the ocean was clear from the ships, right? Now all those ships is back parked in the ocean, just sitting there docked off the coast, right? But the animals came out of their place and they was roaming free. That was that time where the Most High shut this place down, and it was honestly for the betterment. Not reading on, right? Verse 4, it says, "And the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of grinding is low, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low." Right? And this is what played out in the last shutdown, right? The grinders, those factories, they were shut down. The windows of those cities was darkened. It was nothing going on, right? We had entertainment that ceased. Basketball, NFL, all these things ceased, right? So with power outages and things like that, things that where you can't call your cable company and get them give you a time of when these things are coming back on, the power company. You can't check on Twitter to see, when these things, because Twitter is down as well. We had recently where Twitter went down, and we know the nefarious reasons behind those things, right? That we talked about on the news. But it's going to be a time where these things are shut down, and it's just going to be you and your family in the neighborhoods that you're in, and everybody's going to be wondering what's going on. So you got to be prepared for these times. And as he brought out uh, in the book of Matthew in reference to, you pray that that your flight don't be in winter, right? But winter is coming, as for everybody that watch Game of Thrones. The winter was the realest. It was no shit when it came to that time. So take this time to use it wisely, right? Let these be warning to you to prepare you to light that fire under your let's just say your ass to get moving down to preparing your household for these times to come and not be caught off guard. So yeah, I see we got a hand too. Brother want that.
Real quick as we bring him up, one of the brothers in the chat said, let the audience know if they want to get bibs/overalls. Don't wait because the construction crews are buying them up really fast. So if that's something you wear in terms of dressing in layers, you want to take heed of that. And I yield.
Well, I'll bring this out just real quickly. KB actually took my Ecclesiastes 12, so all praises. I just have a quick article. I'm not going to go too deep into it, just to show that this is coming to the United States. This is off Bloomberg. It says global energy crisis threatens to hit the United States grids this winter. It says the energy crisis that's led to electricity shortages and blackouts in Europe and Asia may be heading for the U.S. Electric companies are alerting customers about winter price hikes, and an energy hedge fund warned of potential gas shortages. Ernie Frasher, chief executive officer of Xcoal Energy and Resources LLC, said utility executives have told him they're anxious that fuel shortages this winter could trigger blackouts. So I'll end it there because I didn't want to go too deep into the article, but this was recent, so there are articles out there that show that this is going to hit the United States. So we definitely do have to prepare before the time. So with that, I yield. I know Azrael had something he wanted to bring out as well.
Azrael, you there? Something you want to bring out? Okay, I think he's away from the phone, but
No,
we
Salakia.
okay.
Yeah, I was listening and doing something at the same time. Give me a second. Excellent class, bro. It's a good breakdown on you talked about weather conditions and being prepared for that. I just wanted to add to that and say we don't know how severe this thing is gonna be when it does come into effect, right? But we see it happening. We would be fools if we say we don't see it happening and things are gonna carry on as normal. But as it relates to weather and you being prepared for it with the right clothing and everything else, I feel like Leo hit the nail right on the head when it came to, socks. That might sound trivial and that might sound unimportant, but it is because the worst thing to happen during a time where you have to be moving and being a pilgrim on the earth, like the scriptures say, is to be immobile, right? You get frostbite on your feet, or your foot get kind of sore because you're squeezed in to shoes that are not the right. They are the right size with normal socks, but you got the thick weather socks, and now your shoes are kind of tight. You've been walking around and you developing blisters and things. You want to avoid those small things because when it comes to your mobility, that's going to be one of the most important things for survival, right? And another thing I'd like to add too, even if you live like me, I'm here in the Bahamas, but I travel a lot. I could easily be caught up in something when this comes, right? The brothers that know me know that I'm in America a lot, right? So as it relates to that, I would say if you live in an area in the States that doesn't, normally get very cold temperatures or cold temperatures at all, still prepare, right? You don't have to go overboard with it because that's not your geography. But you don't know where you're going to end up. So where other brothers and sisters that live in those northern states that are, they have a record for heavy snowfall and low temperatures and things of that nature. Of course, they're going to pack accordingly. They're going to buy things accordingly. But you may be in Florida or Atlanta or somewhere like that and feel like, oh, it doesn't get that cold here, so we good. You don't wanna have that kind of mindset, right? You want to prepare. If a person in the northern state, New York, Philly, those places to get, that cold weather, if they're doing 5 socks, five, thick, uh, cold weather socks and leggings and things like that, you want to have at least 2 pairs, right? Regardless of your geography and maybe in your state, but you never know. You may need to be on the road. You may need to be moving, right? And in that day, people are gonna be worse than they are now, right? We ain't even in that bad a condition yet, and people are mean. Let's face it. A lot of Jake is mean. They have that "what's in it for me" spirit. People ain't gonna be giving up, on resources when resources become less and less and harder to come by, right? So you want to at least be prepared for all conditions, despite if you're not affected by those conditions in your area as it may be right now, this very moment, right? And you covered a lot, Leo. It was good, as always. Um, I had something that I wanted to add to that, but I kind of lost it. Oh, vitamins, right? Why do I say vitamins?
Con.
Yeah, vitamins, because we're gonna be in a if they do lockdowns again, which more than likely they will, right? If we inside for another 6 months plus, you're not getting that direct sunlight anymore. You know what I mean? You're gonna become deficient in a lot of areas, right? Where the sun will be providing you vitamin D, you probably won't be getting that regular. You wanna get your vitamin D, vitamin C, magnesium, zinc, things like that, and they're relatively cheap. So I would say stock up on vitamins, as much as you can, so that you could, uh, kind of help yourself to have those vitamins in your system that you would normally be getting through food and sunlight. And because food may be not as, vast as it was before, you might be getting more from the vitamins that you're getting from your actual diet and your intake, right? So we got to look at that. But other than that, it was a beautiful breakdown of the situation, uh, good situation report, and yeah, I yield on that.
Con. Few things. Yeah, your immunity system, you definitely want to keep that up. That goes, that's a more of a lesser extreme of the hyperthermia, but still, that should be ongoing anyway. Pre-collapse and ongoing. And then the sock situation, as we covered that in your having your bug out bags ready, you definitely want to put a pair of clean socks and clean underwear in your bug out bag. In addition to have those ready, as Brother Azrael stated. So, very good points, fellas. Very good points, all the way around. I see we have a guest on stage, Bredani. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing your name right. Salakia, forgive me. You have a question, comment about the topic?
I think is it Brittany? Sister Brittany, you there? She might not be there. I don't know. I see we got a Keziah um hand raised. Bring them up. See if they have a question.
Okay, God, yeah, Shalom. I have a question, and I hope it's not a silly one. But if we have to wash our clothes outside, what is like how are we gonna do that? Like, 'cause I want to start practicing just in case. Do I go to a creek? What kind of soap do I use? So, can anybody answer that?
Are you talking about just in general during a power outage, or more so during the winter?
Uh, I guess both.
No, I could speak to that real quick.
Sure, go ahead.
Um,
Well, she dropped off. I'm not sure what happened.
oh, she's back. She's back.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
Yeah. Shalom, sis. So there's this old school invention uh, that a Jake made, obviously, right? I don't know where you would find them now, but I would look at Amazon or maybe eBay. It's called a washboard, right? So it's this board with these rigid layers on it, and you can, that's back in the day when you used to, you may not know about that, but there's these rigid layers on the board, and you would take your clothes, soak them, and rub them against the layer so you could get that so it could be agitated the way washing machine does, right? To lift the dirt to the top of the clothing, and you know you dip it in water and you get it a thorough clean like that. And then you want to get yourself a plastic collapsible bucket that's going to hold the water that you'll be dipping the washboard in, right? So I'm sure you could go on YouTube and look up the video. Uh, but yeah, that's what I would do. So you're looking for a washboard and a collapsible bucket big enough to hold the washboard, the water, and your clothes.
It,
Keep in mind it's gonna be, it's gonna be manual, so you're gonna need to, put in some elbow grease to get your clothes washed. But
yeah, yeah. So
that,
out.
Salaki, real quick,
Good.
that to me is the simplest system that you could get. Now, as far as detergent goes, I don't really know. Like in a situation where you can't buy detergent, I don't know what is a good natural alternative uh, to detergent. Maybe the brothers could help me out with that.
Baking
But
soda.
baking soda, there you go. Oh, yes, yes, baking soda, lime. I
Also,
wouldn't use vinegar because that scent is gonna stay in the clothes. But
also,
go ahead, KB, if you have something to add
no,
to
I'll
it.
just say also peroxide. Peroxide helps take out stains as well.
Con, con, absolutely right. I forgot about that. So those items such as that. So peroxide. Lime works great. Uh, Baking soda, like the brother said, things like that. So those household items that you could find, you could whip yourself together some detergent out of those things like that. I mean, I wouldn't be wasting limes like that because that would be a food source, but it does work, right? Um, but yeah, so your baking soda, your peroxide, you put those together in your bucket. Like I said, you're looking for something called a washboard or a scrub board, right? And that'll help you out with washing clothes when there's no power and it's manual. So you're gonna use your hands to wash your clothes. I know a lot of people are not gonna be used to that because we used to having these luxuries and washers and dryers, but yeah, when that day we're gonna have to make it work, you know. So
And you right, Azriel. They have them on Amazon. They also have the ringers as well. You could just put the clothes right through the ringer, and you crank the knob, and it wrings out your clothes. Well,
oh, con. Do they have it attached
they have ringers
to this?
separate, and they have the a washboard and a bucket attached, so you could buy.
Okay, con. So you see that? So you want to go on Amazon? Maybe if we could share that in the back chat, KB, and the Thy Kingdom Come chat on Telegram, that'll be good. But yeah, so you want to check out Amazon for those things. Because usually, if you don't find them in the store, I don't know if they'd be readily available at places like Walmart and things like that, since they're kind of uncommon. Those stores cater to what's common now, which would be your washer and dryer system. So they'll have things for that. But yeah, you can check out Amazon and probably pick yourself up the washer. I mean the scrub board with the bucket. KB is saying that the bucket is attached, so that's good.
They,
You know,
it's
but
it's her choosing because I mean they got everything on there. They got manual washing machines on there. They got everything on there, but the washboard is like more. That's the most manual you can get. You know.
I mean it works, bro. It works. It works. Trust me. Uh, I grew up with my grandparents doing it, and it worked. So yeah, but does that answer your question sufficiently, sis, or you need more?
No, that's perfect. The water.
Okay, all praises, all praises.
And real
Uh,
quick I'm sorry, so
no,
Salaki,
no,
but
no.
real
Go
quick
ahead, girl.
to add to that, you can also use to wring out your clothes. You can buy one of those mopping buckets that have the yellow ringer on it that they use to wring out the mop. You could use that to wring out your clothes if you can't get a hold of the ringer from Amazon. So just buy a brand new mopping bucket, the big yellow ones they have at the schools, and then as you're wringing out your clothes on the washboard, you can use that little ringer that they would use for the mop to wring out your clothes into that yellow bucket. So just another tip.
I mean, that's a good idea. If you could go ahead and do that. I mean, for me though, I would say for space savers, because you know you want to get these things and you don't want to have them all over. But what Leo was saying is, you know, that's a viable option. But also, along with that, if you decide not to go that route and you want to do more space saving items, I would suggest the collapsible bucket, right? They hold water very well. You know, they made of PVC, so it's a good sturdy material, sturdy plastic. You could fold it down. It could go in a utility closet somewhere or under a bed in a closet, however. You know, that would be a viable option for those of us with small spaces, small apartment, you know. Just putting that out there. But you could pick it up, KB.
Oh, yeah, good. I guess we got a sister. Is it Brittany?
Yes, sir.
Hey,
Thank you.
shalom, sis.
Shalom. I wanted to add on a few things if you guys don't mind.
Khan, go ahead, sis.
Okay, so I was heard. Luckily, I stepped in the room and heard about the washing board because earlier today I was looking at the washing board and the wringer, and I was also looking at generators like the solar panel generators instead of the gas one. I was looking at that, and then I was looking at how you can make your own generators, the solar generators. Also how to grow your own food, and I just wanted to share it with you guys. Uh, what fruits and vegetables that you can grow within this season and whatnot. I just wanted to share with you guys. It's all like whatever you want to look for is on YouTube. I've been doing my research because I've felt like I this was going to come, and I was trying to warn people around me, and they just looked at me crazy, like, you don't know what you're talking about. We're going to be okay, but I know that something bad is coming, and I wanted to share with you guys. Grow your fruits, grow your vegetables, get tea. Some of these teas have the source of vitamins and all that other stuff that we need. You can buy uh the tablets or the drop or the extracts for vitamins or whatever. But I think it'll be better if you get it from your tea, like burdock root and uh, echinacea tea and different types of teas and stuff like that. So I wanted to share that with you guys. And as far as power goes, if you can afford to buy a generator, because some of them are expensive and some of them are inexpensive, or if you want to build your own, you can watch YouTube and they'll show you how to do it. And I just wanted to share that with you guys.
Khan. Go ahead, Leo. You got it.
No, I was going to say the water. The water. Yeah, we've be sure to become a member of the Kingdom Come and stay plugged in. We do these weekly. Yeah, we've been definitely covering a lot of things that we've been trying to get our people warned about in terms of various topics. So yeah, the water. Thank you for that,
Khan, thank you for letting me share my piece.
Khan. Brother Malakawath, something you want to add to this discussion?
Con. I was wondering that well, it's my first time being on one of these in a long time. I don't know if it has been discussed. I was wondering that because it's been on my spirit to invest in some land. But I was wondering like, what's a good amount of land can we get?
Yeah, it whatever you can get your hands on. It's not a set number in terms of good amount. Whatever you personally feel comfortable with, whatever within your budget. um, and it'll meet your needs. There's not really a set amount to say, oh, this is too small or this is too big. So whatever you could manage, or you and your family, or the brethren that that you congregate with. So is it a bad thing? Is it a bad investment? No, it's not. Um, but it's lots of questions that you would have to go into in terms of access to it. Are you going to be able to get access to it? During when things pop off, you may or may not. And so if you get it, you want to have the mindset of Second Ezra chapter 16 is buy as if you're willing to as if you're going to lose. So you know um, because we don't know exactly how things are going to play out. So, with that, just have that mindset. But is it a good idea in general? Yeah, it's not a bad idea. But of course, take everything to the Most High, pray and fast. Where's a good land, good deals, things like that. Things that you can grow or at least get away from the city, things like that. And prayerfully, He'll lead you in the right direction, or I'm confident He'll lead you in the right direction. To answer your question.
Con, and also to ask too, because the land, I live in Texas. There's a lot of land out here. That's lots of us land. But one thing I'm noticing, like, it's really getting expensive. And also too,
Yep.
there's a brother I know. He's an Israelite, and he's in the truth as well. And they blocked him from buying land. So, and rich folks out here buying land. So, I'm definitely gonna. That's my spirit zone. So I'm definitely gonna stick to it. The water.
Con. Yeah, there's a lot of Edomites leaving the city after the pandemic, and they started jacking up the prices to a lot of places outside the city. But you still can find some good deals. You just got to kind of look a little bit harder, and a little bit more creative places that are outside of, because like some of them are buying it, not necessarily buying it for the same reasons we're buying it. Some of them are just buying it because they want to get outside the city, and they gentrified the city, so now like parasites, they're moving to other areas. But so yeah, just you pray about it fast. You got to kind of be creative. Landforsale.com is a good website, things like that. Kind of got to go beyond the traditional Zillow and other services that the masses use, if that makes sense.
Con, and this is one important thing. Is it time to do it now?
I don't see why not. And I have to be careful how to answer that. I just answered it, so let me clarify that. Not to say don't move in haste or don't move with fear. Don't move like, oh, I got to find this land. I got to find this land. The Most High may not want you to have land on this side of the captivity. So, whatever moves you make, do not do it in fear. Do not do it in haste. Do not do it with anxiety. We've definitely taught on that a few times. I'm probably going to do that again because as things are picking up, people's anxiety tend to increase. So I'm not saying that's you, but do it now. I don't see why not. I don't, and nor do I see the benefit of waiting 6, 8, 10 months down the line. I mean, that's just me. So if you could get it now, I don't see why not. It's going to take time to cultivate, and if you're trying to build a cabin or something on it, or get it situated, that's going to take time. So I don't see why not. But again, that is doing it without fear and anxiety, if that makes sense.
Con, the water. That definitely makes a lot of sense. I'm definitely glad you went over there because that definitely just clears some headspace. Also, too, how will we take showers? Because I was thinking about getting some land like by like a spring or by like a river or something.
Oh, that is a good question. So, that is where the water comes in. So there's some things you can do. You can look on Amazon, look up pocket showers or camping showers. They have some like eggs or contraptions that you can make to take a shower. But just know during Jacob's trouble, when things really pop off, you're not going to have the luxury of taking a shower, twice a day or 3 times a day, or once a day. That's just not realistic. considering the climate and things that are be going on during that time. And we're going to be moving from place to place like pilgrims. So knowing that first is knowing that we're not going to have that luxury, because I mean it is even though it's a necessity, it's still a luxury to have running water, and because millions of people still don't have it, unfortunately. But wherever you are, those camping solutions to take showers are they're out there. And you could go to YouTube and type in showering at camp, or camping showers, things like that. There's some pretty interesting contraptions that people created. Some are just simple as taking a 5-gallon bucket, drilling a bunch of holes in it, and raising it above your head on a tree branch, stuff like that. That makes sense.
Go back, Sean.
Oh, and real quick, during this past Feast of Tabernacles, one of our beloved sisters, she got a space where, they had a camp set up with the tents and everything else. And there were these things called solar bags, right? So it's these plastic bags, but it's covered in this like metallic like film to, absorb heat. And you fill up those bags, you put them in the sunlight for about an hour or two, and they retain heat for like I want to say up to 4 hours. So that's a good way. People are gonna be used to having warm. We already used to having warm and hot showers, right? So you know when this really sets on, and you're in a cold climate, you want to cleanse yourself with a little bit of comfort. You want to make it as comfortable as possible, not to your detriment. But if you could get those, I'm pretty sure they're on Amazon as well. If you could buy a few of those solar bikes, I think they would come in pretty convenient as well. I just wanted to put that in there real quick. So it's called solar bikes. You fill it up with water. I think they hold maybe up to 5 gallons each. You may have some versions that have more than that, but I think the 5 gallon ones are sufficient. You get 2 or 3 of those, and you should be good. You know that'll be a good purchase. But I yield on that. I just wanted to bring
And
that up.
just real quick, and I think Leo touched on it. I was actually not away from my mic, but I keep a thing called it's made by Medline Remedy, and it's called Faux Cleanse, and it's basically it's like a body cleanser. It's basically for people like in the hospital that's not able to shower, and you can actually spray it on your body and you don't have to rinse from it. It's a foam, and you can clean your areas of your body with it. It's fragrance free. It's made from all natural products. You can actually look it up online. It's really good. I keep one in my car, in my bug out bag. I buy a lot of them because I want to be able to clean always, no matter where I am, but it's very, very good. And it doesn't leave like no after or like residue or any films or anything like that. So it's actually, recommended for, hospital and physician use, mainly for those people that, can't get to showers and things of that sort. So you can actually look it up. I'll post it in the back chat. I think you're back there.
Okay, Con. What's a good bug out bag?
Say what?
What's a good bug out bag?
That depends. Are you? I'll. Let me see. I'm following you, so I'll drop some links in your uh, uh, DM, so you can see how to create a bug out bag. Because there's no such. I mean, it's not really a set answer for that, because it'll be geared towards you. So we will. I'll drop you some videos of what to consider in a bug out bag, and I'll put those videos in the telechat for those who joined and missed those lessons or whatnot. That helps.
Con. The water for you. The water brothers. You.
Con, appreciate you. We have one more hand raised. Brother Yashawn sent you an invite. Okay, I guess he put his hand. Oh, no, we sent you an invite, Brother Yashawn. Not sure if it's in. Raise your hand on accident. Okay, I guess he raised his hand on accident. He's not close, but we sent him an invite. I don't have anything else, Brother Ben. If you want to close.
Beautiful lesson. So I hope everyone, you know, did he raise his hand again? Yeah, I sent him an invite. All right, I'm still showing his hand raised. All right. So, of course, we're going to give all praise to Yahweh by Shem Hamashiach Amalak Yahushai. I see we had another hand raised right before we about to leave. So let's see what the brother, if he had anything he needs to ask. If he had a question he wanted to ask. All right, he did. All right, I'm going to try this again. I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. We thank him for allowing us to come before you and continue to warn our people, you know, keeping that Ezekiel 3:17 in effect. That's what we do here. So we'll be back tomorrow morning, you know, and hey, we pray that you have a beautiful rest of your night. Shalom.
Yeah, yeah. In time of trouble, yeah. What you gonna do? Yeah. What now? What you gonna do? In time of trouble. Trouble. Yeah, yeah. You better be, yeah, yeah.